Trollrider, read by Barry Patterson. Chapter 5. Can we visit the trolls in the wood, please? Dar patted William on the knees, shushing him. Not today. But what about Fofo Trot? He might be starved hungry, William pleaded. Yeah, Dar, let's go and see some trolls, I scoffed, suddenly deciding not to hold back my outdoor frustrations. Can we, Dar? Can we? I promise to be quiet as a mouse. Not today, William, Dar replied. Defiantly, I sped up my walk and headed for the looming forest in the distance. My arms, legs and lungs screamed at me to stop, but I needed to emphasize my annoyance. Not today, Brandon. It's getting late now. Dar sounded irked. The wind licked my cheeks as I ignored my grandfather and pushed on hard. Brandon! Dar was not a happy man. I was laughing now, pushing hard. Freezing tears streamed down my cheek. Brandon! Enough! Dar shouted. Trolls! Trolls! We're going to see the trolls! William sang. Running and pushing. Running and pushing. Stop, Brandon! Stop! Can we feed them chocolate? Can we sing to them? William screeched. Yeah, Dar. Do they eat chocolate and sweeties? I mimicked. Pushing and running. Running and pushing. We were now just 100 metres or so from the edge of Pitchbury Wood. Trolls, come out and see me, William screeched. Pushing. Running. Running. Pushing. Stop, Brandon, stop! You don't know what you're doing! All of me hurt. From the laughing, from the pushing, the cold wind taking hold of my guts, but I ran as hard as I could. Faster, harder, closer. Whee! William screeched his loudest screeches, and then Dar exploded with rage. Do as you're told, you disobedient town rat F-word, Dar shouted ferociously, grabbing my arm from over his shoulder. It hurt. You horrible, disobedient, nasty little child! Dar had venom in his voice and it shocked me to my toes. Suddenly I felt incredibly small, rooted, terrified to the spot. Dar's ears slid back. He was in full-on Jurassic mode. William began crying. My bottom lip went mental, and then everything was silent, except for my rasping breath, William's sniffles, and the beat of my heart in my ears. I knew every bad word. Somehow, coming from Dar's mouth, they seemed even worse. Take me home! Dar was breathless. We headed back to the farm in silence. We turned the corner of the yard and were faced with a very long, fancy silver car sitting on the driveway. It seemed like the type of car a football manager might drive. Dar's face suddenly turned as white as my new trainer's. Carefully he lifted William from his lap. Go bounce, little bean. William hugged Dar and scurried round the back of the house to the trampoline. I'll be there presently. See if you can touch the clouds today. Dar waited for William to disappear from sight before wheeling himself slowly towards the car. I followed. Dar sighed and kicked the tyre angrily. He exhaled deeply and continued sighing, each huff louder than the last and peppered in between with hushed, feisty F-words. Then he turned to me. Dar's face had the look on it mine does when me and my mates do a brain liquor or a toxic waste challenge. I hoped he wasn't angry with me anymore, but couldn't tell. Please don't copy this, Brandon, he fumed, but he is a villain of the highest order. Dar sighed, grunted, then sucked up the contents of his lungs from deep within, spitting the contents of his mouth onto the car. Who, Dar? I asked, still shaken, but curious all the same. A very bad man indeed. In shared silence we watched the revolting mess slide down the car's windscreen. You must not, under any circumstances, mention anything to do with Pitchbury Wood. Anything to do with anything to do with Pitchbury Wood. Do you understand me? Dar was deathly serious, and I was not going to cross him any more today. Ever again. Actually, on thinking about it, yes, Dar, I understand. I nodded hard to signify my total understanding. Still stinging from his rage, I pushed Dar back to the house. Absolutely nothing. Dar's tone was superhero cold. We swapped over wheelchairs, and I scraped the mud from my boots onto the heavy iron crocodile at the back door. I remained quiet, and then we entered the house. Muttering and the sound of clanking crockery came from inside. I quickly wheeled Dar through, feeling his sense of urgency, as something serious was clearly going down. Dar composed himself for a moment, and then lifted the heavy door latch to the lounge.